Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Mendte. Our next guest has called Governor Murphy King Murphy and says we must stop his draconian policies and reopen the state immediately. Here is my interview with Republican State Senator Mike Doherty from the 23rd Legislative District, which is parts of Hunterdon, Somerset, and Warren County. Sir, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this today. You recently made a suggestion to the state of New Jersey to go ahead and use some employees that are at home to help with the backlog of unemployment claims. How has that suggestion been received?
Well, there's been a huge number of unemployment insurance claims that have been put in. Obviously, many people are out of work right now here in the state of New Jersey, and the department that handles that for the state of New Jersey is overwhelmed. And as a result, there's a backlog. The applications are not being processed at the time and turnaround that they need to be. And so I've proposed that we have some of the idle state employees who, through no fault of their own, are now at home and are not working, that they be asked to help assist with this effort to process these unemployment insurance claims. It's been done in other states, such as the state of California, where over 1,000 state employees that are idle now in California have been asked to help out process these unemployment insurance claims. And it's more important now than ever that we get these claims processed.
You have not been kind in some of your comments to the governor and some of the action that he's taken. I read a headline where you called him King Murphy. You've talked about some of the, in your words, draconian measures he's taken. What do you object to so much?
I think we were all concerned at the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak. We were concerned about where it was going to go and the potential harm it could cause to our society, the health of our New Jersey residents. But the data is now in. We're seeing data from all over the country that the instances of coronavirus is actually much more widely spread through the population than we thought. And for example, Stanford University did a study in Santa Clara County where they found that 1,000 people had been reported as being positive for COVID-19, but actually up to 85 times that number of people in Santa Clara County actually had the coronavirus. So we've seen the same thing in New York State, where Governor Cuomo did a universal test. They tested randomly at supermarkets and found out that the population that was infected was actually up to 21%. So this brings the death rate down well below 1%. So now we have more data. We were promised that hospitals were going to be overwhelmed here in the state of New Jersey. It hasn't happened. As a matter of fact, hospitalizations are way down. But Governor Murphy, instead of looking at this new data, in my opinion, continues to dig in to keep this lockdown on the people of New Jersey. And a lot of things he's doing are actually violating our constitutional rights.
There was a Supreme Court ruling giving governors and giving the president some pretty wide power, as long as it specifically deals with a health emergency, to take action. Do you believe he's in violation of that?
Well, look, you have to treat everybody equally, right? So Governor Murphy's saying it's okay for residents in New Jersey to go to a liquor store and buy alcohol. And when they're in the liquor store, they can buy lottery tickets from a dispensing machine as well. All that's essential. You can go to Walmart, you can go to supermarkets, and apparently you are able to maintain social distancing. And in contrast, you can't go to church. Apparently, you can't maintain social distancing. You can't even do it outdoors in open air environment. We have a First Amendment right. We have a First Amendment right to assemble. We have a First Amendment right to practice our faith. We have a First Amendment right to travel. And none of that goes away during a so-called emergency.
I know you're concerned about small business owners also in Warren, Hunterdon, and Somerset County. How long can they survive through this?
People in New Jersey are really struggling. I saw a study where 40% of the families, somebody's lost a job. We've seen these food lines, people waiting in line to get food at the food banks. People need to work and take care of their families. Governor Murphy, in my opinion, moved the goal line. He moved the goalpost. He said, okay, we need to bend that curve and make sure our hospitals aren't overwhelmed. Well, here we are on May 4th. Our hospitals are not overwhelmed and hospitalizations are going down. And now Murphy moves the goalpost and he says, oh, well, I told you if the hospitals don't get overwhelmed, we could open up the state. Now he's saying we need to have 75,000 coronavirus tests a day. We're doing 7,500. I'm sorry, Governor Murphy, you moved the goal line. You promised the people if the hospitals don't get overwhelmed, we're going to open the state back, and now you're changing it, and it's a subjective standard.
You were a early and a strong supporter of President Donald Trump. How's he been doing during this pandemic?
I think President Trump's listening to Dr. Fauci a little bit too much. You know, he should really talk to some more business people. Americans are going to have their finances decimated here. It's going to take them years and years to dig out of this debt hole that's been created. Right now, the cure is worse than the disease. The cure of making everybody stay home is the disease. It's what's caused 30 million Americans to be unemployed right now. And so I think President Trump, like me, he was very careful when we first got the reports about the coronavirus. But now we're seeing more data, and we realize that the death rate is much, much lower than Dr. Fauci promised. It's not 3 and 4%. It looks like it's well below 1%. And as a matter of fact, as we stand here today, 99.9% of people in New Jersey are still alive and well. People need to get out for their psychological health, for their financial well-being, to be able to take care of their families. So, yeah, I think President Trump, he was cautious at the beginning, and that was appropriate. But I do support him in trying to open up the United States again, because that's what we need. It's time to take Dr. Fauci and put him to the side and reopen the United States. So Donald Trump, he's been aggressive. He's been the best thing in the White House doing that. So I don't have any criticism of President Trump. My criticism is that he probably, out of an abundance of caution, listened to this Dr. Fauci man a little bit too long. And Fauci has obviously been proven to be incorrect with his models. You should look at the scientific data. And the scientific data is now showing that well less than 1% of the people are going to be killed by the coronavirus. And those people who unfortunately do pass away, they tend to be well past the average life expectancy for American citizens, and they tend to have 1 or 2 or 3 other illnesses, comorbidities they call them, associated with that. So if you're a healthy person, you really have nothing to be afraid of, and the numbers back that up.
You had a lot of people pushing you to run for Congress, and I know you considered it yourself. You decided you didn't want to just recently. Any regrets?
No, I love my life. I like my wife, and I love her as well. And I have a great life here in the state of New Jersey. So why the heck would I want to go down to Washington, D.C. and ruin all that?
Well said. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and I hope you and your family stay well through this.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
That was State Senator Michael Doherty. Still to come on Jersey Matters, Cape May, New Jersey had a partial reopening last week, and now other shore communities may follow their lead. We'll talk to the mayor when Jersey Matters continues.